Hello, I hope you are having a good week. I have been thinking about Matthew 16, and in Matthew 16 verse 15, Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" And I think that's a really important question for then, and I think it's a really important question for now. Who do you say that Jesus is? Have you got a depth of understanding of the person of Jesus, of the significance of knowing Jesus? And you might be going, I have absolutely no idea who Jesus is. And so I want to encourage you to think about a few things, and you might be rolling your eyes and going to click away and go, of course I know who Jesus is. I've been doing this forever, and I've got a few things that I think will be helpful for you too. And you might be somewhere in the middle, and that is fine. And I think any and all of those options exist within our communities, and I think they are all worth thinking about and talking about, because we are the people who are publicly declaring that we are apprenticed to Jesus, that we are following him. And that's not just because we have got nothing better to do, or it seems like the most logical inheritance culturally for us because of where we live in the world, or the way that we have been raised, or the thoughts and the ideas that we've been raised around and in, and how they have shaped culture in ways that we probably haven't really had to think about. We believe that we've made a conscious and deliberate choice to identify Jesus as being the one to follow for lots of reasons that are important and significant to us, and kind of leading that conversation. And part of what is so unique about what we say we believe in the revelation of who Jesus is our ability to have a personal relationship with him, which can sometimes feel a bit cheesy, a bit cliched, and we kind of throw things out there, and I'm not sure how often that feels real in our lived experience and our day-to-day. So we need to get a hold of that question that I think Jesus is still asking us, because it is going to decide and determine so many things. When we consider who we believe Jesus is, that's going to determine and affect the way that we order our days. It's going to determine how we interact with other people. It's going to work out, or help us to work out, how we use the resources that we have available to us, how we structure and think about our existence. Some of our ambitions and aims and the way that we live life is going to be determined by the answer to that question. Who do you say that Jesus is? If you are completely unsure about who Jesus is, first of all, don't panic. I think it's important to understand that this is not some secret test that you are passing or that you are failing. I think faith is discovery, and I think that's important, and I think we need to be gentle with each other at various stages and points in our exploration of time and space, and of who we are becoming and how we are learning more about God in and through our experience. So if you have absolutely no idea and you're not confident or sure who Jesus is, here's something that I want to encourage you to do. Two things. I want you to encourage you to read the Gospels. So that's in the Bible, that's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. And I want you to be deliberate about that. Why? Because you're going to find really quickly and really easily Jesus's words in that space. And so to find out about somebody, it's going to be really helpful to see what they think about things, and to observe how they interact with other people, and to understand some of the things that they declare about themselves. And so we have this incredible revelation from Jesus about himself to us in the form of the Bible, the entire canon of Scripture. But to get really quickly and easily to Jesus talking about himself, giving us example from his time on earth, then we want to start in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then the second thing that I want to encourage you to do is to connect with someone and talk with them about who do they say Jesus is, and how does that shape and frame your understanding of your response to that question. Who are you going to tell other people that Jesus is? So get yourself in the Gospels. You don't need to read them all by next Wednesday, but I would encourage you to make a start, to get into the thick of that, to look for Jesus' words, develop an appetite for the words of Jesus, because that's going to help you answer that question. Who do you say Jesus is? How are you going to communicate that to yourself and to other people? And then talk to somebody about it. find people who are maybe a few steps further along in the journey with discovering who Jesus is, and spend some time with them, be deliberate about that, send an email, send a message, take somebody for coffee, ask somebody to come and share who they say Jesus is with you, and allow that to shape and develop some of your ideas about that too. If you are on the other end of that scale and you've managed to stay with this communication for this long, and you're rolling your eyes and you're a little bit indifferent and you think, okay, like we need a little bit more than that, be that person for somebody else. Who do you say Jesus is, and how often are you communicating who Jesus is? And not just to yourself, but to those around you. Are you aware? Do you have an awareness of those around you and their need to have a deeper comprehension of who Jesus is? Somebody, I am assuming, has done that for you at some point in your journey. And are you doing that for others? Are you communicating the depth of the truth of who Jesus is from what you have discovered and learned, and what Jesus has taught you about himself in the time that you have been following him? So who do you say Jesus is? And has that changed over time? Have you got a story to tell about who you thought Jesus was, and then a moment, an interaction, an occasion that has influenced and shaped and changed that for you? And are you communicating that with other people, with those who maybe need some who are further along in that journey to turn around and to call to those near and around them from your experience, from your knowledge, from how you are seeking Jesus, and how that is influencing and affecting how you answer that question? So be honest with yourself. Are you answering that question for those around you? Who do you say Jesus is? I want to encourage you to be refreshed and reminded if you feel a little bit jaded, a little bit frustrated, a little bit worn out, and that you've been around the things of God and the people of God for a while, and you may be feeling a bit flat, or you may be feeling a bit disconnected, for you to re-engage with the words of Jesus and to see again who Jesus is and who he tells you that he is, and the significance of how he treats people and interacts with others, and the truth of the things that Jesus declares of and about himself are still exciting and still significant, and still, when we know from experience, even if we've read something 100 times, that there's still life in those words and in those moments, in those interactions. So I would encourage you, even if you think you know it all, you've seen it all, you've done it all, you've been around for forever, that Jesus is still asking you what your answer is to that question. Who do you say Jesus is? So connect with somebody and share your story of how you arrived with confidence, with faith, with excitement in your response to who Jesus is. I hope that is encouraging for you. I hope that you do something with that. We need to move past just these patterns and these rhythms of using the tools that we have for community formation just as a notice board, as an awareness tool. We need to interact with each other. We need to engage with these things. That is part of the point of them. So I hope you are excited to answer that question for yourself and for your community and for those that you are surrounded by. Who do you say Jesus is? Be brilliant, love well, have a great week, and we'll see you soon.